A super fast meeting. First, review the minutes. In the Google Drive are the minutes. We have to have a better format. So I had my intern go back and tighten things up a little bit.
Yeah.
If everyone could take a moment in the next week or so, look over them, and then I'll have them at the next meeting and have everyone sign them. And then I think they're gonna start maybe putting the minutes online. Kyle asked for the minutes, so we wanna make sure that our minutes are really, really good.
Oh, okay, I see. Look at this, yeah, so there's like the actual templates in there now.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is wonderful, okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna adjust the templates. If you look in the actual minutes, I sort of shifted them to be a little more,
I copy and pasted it.
yeah, full beans. Okay, so, oh, and I'll watch it later and take minutes. All good, don't worry about it. Okay, number 2, upcoming board vacancy. I'm excited and devastated that Keith Hamrick has accepted another position. It's a great opportunity for him, but so he has left us. His last day was on Friday. Yeah. So he's gone to a great opportunity. So we have a board vacancy. They're currently looking for a replacement for Keith. So I think it would make sense if we can have the new HR person be on the board. So we're just gonna kind of hold that space open for now, unless it looks like it's gonna be a longer process and maybe we need to do something differently. So that's why Keith is not here. So sad face. Okay, Marsh Park update. So the resolution did pass. The resolution was for the application for the marker. Mayor Schneider has already signed the resolution and he's working on the actual letters that we need him to do for the application, which will be submitted by May 1st is when that will be in. The other piece, and actually, Ashley, can you slide those over? So this is a sample or a rough draft of the questionnaire and sort of the social media post that we're looking at doing. I'm gonna have this go through the park committee, but I want everyone to get eyes on it and let me know if there's a question that we're missing. Oh, did you not get one?
I got one right here.
Okay. If there's a question that we're missing, if you'd like something reworded, and then the other one is what would be like a social media post about it. So this is gonna have to go, it's a process, it's gonna have to go through the Parks Committee, and then from the Parks Committee to Council, and then we can put it out to the public. So if you wanna take a look at that, and give any feedback, happy to do that. I do have a meeting on, let's see, I think it's Friday, with Artworks to have a conversation about how they could support us in this process. Norwood Together, the local nonprofit, they just got a big grant from, I think it was Art. So there's Artworks and Artwave.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember which is which? Were we talking about that the other day? No.
I thought no.
Okay.
Arts Wave is more of a
Is that the more
like
fundraiser?
fundraising,
Yeah.
funding, grant giving organization.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's who gave Norwood Together some funds for their international art festival. So we could possibly reach out to them for financial assistance as well. So that's a possibility. I have talked to Clint Zimmerman, who's the superintendent of public works, about perennials that we could put in even before we do like a bigger thing. And so he's totally on board with us planting daffodils along the fence line. Those are things that we wouldn't create a separate bed, they would just be in the grass, and then when it comes time for first mow, they'll be done. So zero maintenance for public works. And I love the idea of daffodils because they're about rebirth and spring and all that cool stuff, which is sort of the vibe that we're going for. That would also need to be approved by the Parks Committee, but that was one of the directions, I was looking at. What else about Marsh Park?
Can I just say
Please.
that, the council meeting and hearing the whole thing read
Mm-hmm.
was very, moving, and, just I could just tell the amount of, work and detail and how it was just laid out just so, and, I guess I just didn't quite realize the significance, so I did want to commend you for your work, because that's legit.
Yeah.
It was inspirational, seriously.
Aw. It was absolutely a group effort. Susan Daniels it's on Do Not Disturb, so why did it make noise? Susan Daniels with the Norwood Historical Society, and she found a lot of really good primary sources. She's who I got the newspaper articles from originally, and then Chris Hanlon is the local historian, and he and I actually went down to the museum center archives and went through lots of boxes of, it was powerful, it was cool, so thank you.
Mhm.
But it was a group effort. And I know you have been looking into, so for those watching at home, we're exploring some options for the park. Nothing has been decided at all. But we're looking at the art program, some artwork in the park. We're looking at the possibility of doing a community garden. And so Derek has been doing some research to see how that would go. I've met with Darren Hackworth, who's our project manager, about possible locations in the park and that kind of thing. Access to water is one of the biggest ones, as well as having strong community support for it. Because what we wouldn't want is it to go fallow and have it look like garbage. That's not our intent. So, did you have any updates? Are you still gathering your stuff from that?
I was waiting to see kind of how things were gonna go, but still gathering.
Sweet. Yes. Anything else about Marsh?
I am also still gathering about whether, the space as it relates to the daffodils.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking through the Arts Wave things after speaking with, and his name has escaped me.
Mm-hmm.
You have it written down.
I'm sure I could go through the emails and figure it out. Maybe Jonathan. Anyway, after speaking with him, we're a little bit out of date as it relates to applying for any of the grants right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there are grants that are specific to what we need, there are grants that have specific requirements, is what I mean. There's also for most of the grants a matching portion.
Mm-hmm.
So, they will give us up to 10,000 on a lot of grants, but we have to match it.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter, however much they give us, we have to match it.
5,000 to 5,000.
5,000 to 5,000.
10,000.
10,000.
Gotcha.
So I think once we have a better idea of what the project itself will look like, then we should be trying to think a little bit more about what we would pay, how we would pay for it. Because they do have specific requirements.
Okay.
Yep, that's all.
Sweet.
Ashton, that was with Arts Wave or
Arts Wave.
Arts Wave. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Art Works and Art Wave, which they didn't ask us. I think that's everything from March. Cool. I'm back. How much did you get, girlfriend?
Oh, for Lydia's house?
Yes.
We had a pretty successful donation drive. Most of the bins are full. No, it's very nice. We've had yeah, we've had mostly a couple people who have donated a lot, which I still greatly appreciate, obviously, even if it's only a few members. But and then the police department reached out, and I think we're going to go next Wednesday. Unfortunately, everyone's very busy this week, so we're just extending the donation period. past Women's History Month, which is fine with me. So if anyone wants to donate this week, the bins will still be there. I think Wednesday we are going to take them there, and the police department is going to give a check to Lydia's house as well, which is very exciting.
phenomenal.
Yes.
Very nice.
So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, so I thank you to everyone who's donated, and thank you to the police department for helping out. And I'm sure I'll have a photo of us donating next week, actually delivering the goods.
You're
So,
delivering donations?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
understood. Next Wednesday, right?
yes, is the plan.
Cool.
Very successful.
Very good.
Love it. Okay, the culture survey update. So, he has it up as a draft in the in Paycor. So I was able to take a look at it, but now we can't do anything with it because we don't have an HR person.
Yeah.
So, big fat pause on that, but we have a draft available. I'm gonna try to figure out how to print it so you guys can look at it. It was taking me too long to figure it out because it's in Paycor, you know, so and I can't log you into Paycor. So I gotta figure out how to do that.
Screenshots?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a list of screenshots.
Other people have access to that platform, so shouldn't be.
Employees do.
Employees do, but what I'm saying is there should be someone within the city government that has access to the platform as Keith did and should be able to pull that document out.
So I have the document in front of me, but I don't know how to make it
Right.
a printable thing.
We
You know
could do
what I'm
like a PowerPoint of it too, probably discussing it, or not PowerPoint, but put it on a screen
Oh, screen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
We
that's
can
not a
do
bad
that.
idea.
in the main chamber at some point.
It's 42 questions. I didn't want to take it because I was worried that it might go, right? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to time how long does it take? Because if it's 10 minutes, I don't know if anyone's going to take it, but, oh yeah, the Marsh Park takes less than a minute. Less than 2 minutes. I think it's a minute something. So that one should be fast. Okay, April events. Oh, yes, sorry.
Back to the fashion that we express our interest to support that no city board of would like to support the effort and quickly have a data sharing.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal.
But yeah, we would be happy to. But now we but really we would be happy to support.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
We need to do we would be happy to do more for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
April. April is Autism Month. I don't have any time to take on a project for April. Didn't know if anyone else wanted to try to put something together, or this is just, we'll have a chill month this month and.
Is there, could we do something on social media about, just like, if there are other events or within the
Like
community,
share
could we share,
things?
yeah, just, is that,
I'm
Yeah.
only saying that, I would agree with that, and I'm saying that because it's April 5th, and I don't think that we should be trying to throw
Create.
something together.
in 45 minutes,
In-
44 minutes?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Though we could, if we
We
had
could.
to.
For the record.
It will not look good.
Put it in the minutes, we could.
We could do this. So,
I-
we'd
I-
like to do it justice, so we will not.
I agree that we absolutely could do it, because I believe in us, but I don't think that we should do it.
Cool, agreed. Now, where will we find those autism my awareness posts, if there's anything that,
I can certainly put something on my political page, my personal page, and I can share it with you guys. I don't know that the city would necessarily, I don't know. I could ask Noah. I'm not sure what they would post,
yeah, right.
but
I wonder if, what's the children's organization that we worked with? they get volunteers in January, day of service.
Oh, I reached out to them and they do just take monthly volunteer. It's on the list. I'm so sorry. I don't remember
I was just thinking if they were gonna do
Yeah.
something for autism awareness related to children, or I don't, we might be able to.
It was a group for children with disabilities. I can't remember what it's called.
There's one with,
Thank you for also not being able
individuals
to
with,
remember.
Down syndrome,
Mm,
that's
yeah,
in
it was-
Norwood.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's-
Different.
Well, there is an interesting overlap with, autism and Down syndrome.
Okay.
Um,
Just trying to think of folks that we've talked
Interacted
about or
with.
worked with, or maybe to look at their social media pages and share, but we can continue to work through. You were gonna say something,
No, it wasn't.
I think.
So I did not print this out, but we do have in the DEI folder, the drive, we do have the calendar, the year-long calendar. And, I would love for us to start, looking ahead
Mhm.
and figuring out what we wanna do. May is Jewish American Heritage Month.
Oh, today's Passover.
Today's
Mm.
Passover,
Passover.
yes.
Thank you.
Um,
Half Jewish.
Yeah.
Jewish.
No.
Jewish. As you can see, I am not at my Passover, so tomorrow we schedule when we can.
Yeah.
So we have schedules that we're a little bit flexible in that, so, thank you.
May is also, there's National Teacher Appreciation Day. Norwood became a city, May 4th, 1903. So, wait, no.
Wait, 1888 then.
120. Oh yeah, I
Yes,
guess the
maybe
logo
maybe
does.
it-
But maybe like someone signed a paper, made it official in 1900 whatever. Not super.
It's on the thing.
Gee.
He's like, don't know that.
He's like, I haven't been here that long.
I'll double check that. That is interesting. I do think it's 1888 on all
This is
the.
a quick wiki search, hold on.
Well, it says it on our seal, 1888. So
I'm not saying that it's not right.
I think it was incorporated, but it wasn't officially, so.
Ah, there we go. That makes sense. Okay. So
Well,
they're just
we can
hanging out for
celebrate.
20 years.
Yeah, we can celebrate in May also.
One of the things looking ahead for year planning is, in June is Juneteenth. And I would love, so last year, a community member, she almost single-handedly put together a really lovely Juneteenth, programming. I was out of town for it. I'll be out of town this year as well. But had a resolution, she had flag raising, she did a whole lot of stuff. So I'm gonna reach out to her and see if there's ways that we can support her. I still want,
Mhm.
I don't want us to overtake it, but just sort of, do one of these.
Do we know
See
what
if
her
she's-
name is? Or just
yes,
citizen?
it's,
Yeah, if you can, I just.
it's Virginia Patterson. Sorry, the first thing I thought of was her Facebook name, was a bit different.
Gotcha.
In August, there's National Night Out, which, do you guys know what National Night Out is? It's a nationwide initiative. It's sort of like, it's police, predominantly police being connected with their neighbors. It's sort of like a community event with the police connecting with their neighbors.
Okay.
I've talked to Noah before about doing it. You have to pay, I think you have to pay like a licensing fee. City of Cincinnati does it, it's huge, it's in all the neighborhoods in Cincinnati. I think it would be a nice way to have more of that interpersonal interaction. One of the things that Noah suggested that we could do maybe instead of National Night Out was like a touch-a-truck, where you would have like fire trucks and police cars, and if you could get a helicopter from the hospital, and like a family thing. So that was another idea, more about like that community engagement piece. So kind of garbage trucks.
Yes, those are very.
Yes.
Those are a big hit usually.
Yeah.
Cool.
So kind of think about,
Also Jewish Pride Month, so did we have, I didn't know what we wanted to do.
I don't have it on the calendar. That's crazy. My bad. Which is why we need to have these conversations.
I know, like, we've never officially done a city sanctioned thing for Pride, right? So I would like to see.
The city's always adopted a resolution.
Yeah, we
now
do the
it's-
resolutions, yeah.
Yeah.
For the past few years, I don't know for how long.
Yeah.
In '88 is when the city became a village, incorporated as a village, then '04 was when it became a city.
Oh, thank you. I know that, Eric, put in the committee, the law committee, the anti-discrimination, ordinance, which is not just like a resolution, it's like an ordinance, so it's not gonna be just like a quick thing. It would require a lot of thought and, research and, you know, working with, within departments to figure out how it would be enforced and that kind of thing. That feels tangentially connected with Pride, but it's more overriding than that for sure. I don't know that we could have it done by June, but, do we wanna start brainstorming what we wanna do for Pride Month?
Yes, we'll have to be selective what day we pick, since everyone I know who goes to Pride festivals goes to every festival in Ohio. They go to Columbus Pride, Chicago Pride, Market Days, although that's in October, but all of it.
Do you know, when you think about it, what are your ideas?
I thought it'd be nice if we did something like at the end of Mills, like we do with other stuff, but I don't know what vendors and things we would have. And then, of course, the national climate around drag shows is not great, so I would be a little nervous to invite any drag performers.
But so your thought is like a street festival kind of vibe?
Maybe. I would like to see that. Because I feel like the marches would be hard, since we'd have to close down more streets, but a
Yeah,
festival would be
during
fun.
COVID, we did the march. Again, it was a resident initiated.
Right, it was more of a sidewalk march, right?
Down Lawson Way.
Yeah.
Do other folks have thoughts about what they'd like it to look like?
I like the idea of it being sort of festival slash, I don't know.
I think last year we did like
vendor kind of
Yeah,
spot.
like the unofficial thing was like Pride in the Park, right? Isn't that what they called it?
Mm-hmm.
It was at Victory Park. I went, had a great time. There were bubble machines.
There's bubbles and chalk.
Yes.
Oh,
Music.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Could we do that again? Is it vendors?
There were vendors, because it was thrown together pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm saying
resident.
we, are you just like the city?
No, it was a resident. who
No,
did
it was,
Oh, it's a
yeah.
resident. Okay,
Yeah,
and
the
the
last-
mill thing, the end of mill, like a festival
Yeah,
type
the
thing
Victory
was also-
Park. Yeah, we had like Off Pike Market, and like we had the Hispanic Heritage Festival at the end of Mills, like at that.
Okay,
That's like a very easy section of the streets to block off. is
I
what
see,
I'm saying.
okay. And this is all resident driven stuff?
The last 2 things have been, yes.
Mhm.
It's been like a Facebook event essentially, and then people do come, and it's very nice.
So maybe touch base with them.
Okay, let's
That
get those
person
people on
also.
board. Let's get those people on board.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. And I don't know, we can just get, I was thinking like we could do, like maybe ask for like face painters or just like, you know, and maybe we can find some, you know what, I'll Google some stuff, I'll bring
Okay.
more of a plan next month and we could all come back.
Okay.
I just didn't want it to fall off the radar.
No, I appreciate that, I really appreciate that suggestion. Do you think you could make the connection with that person?
It's Alice.
Was it Alice who did? Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cool,
Talk
cool.
to Alice this week.
Any chance we could do a barbecue?
Oh.
Or have barbecue? Barbecue meats.
At Pride.
Barbecue.
Or okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like tonight? I don't know. I don't think we can make it happen tonight there.
Right now.
But, well, we probably could door
Specifically
dash.
barbecue.
Hard.
Yes.
Specifically barbecue.
Kinda.
Or
If
you
you
I
reach
mean,
out
it's
to
a
a vendor
summer
saying,
Yeah, that's what it's
We're
kinda
Yeah,
like.
we can
Grill
get like
out
we
vibe.
can try to get like like at least a food truck to come, like
Sure.
something.
Mhm.
Oh
There's
yeah.
that one that sits in the parking lot at PNC Bank.
Mm,
He used to sit in
Yeah.
the Kroger parking lot. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a Norwood
Oh.
specific one.
Oh, the smoke,
yeah, but we can't have, wait, or can we have sponsored people? Anyway, never mind, keep, go.
I was just thinking if anybody was over there when he's out there, or they are out there, I don't know who it is. Just
Like
strike up a conversation, or is there, if it's in the park, I'm sure there are grills there.
Yeah.
Mounds and grills,
There's not a grill that,
no grill.
No.
Victory, I don't know
Victory.
if there is, yeah.
No, the veterans take offense to that.
Well,
To the grills.
Just food or beverages being consumed
consumed
there.
in that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a touchy subject for the veterans.
I do know that there is sort of the front part of the
Mhm.
park
Yeah.
is, and so the further away from Montgomery Road,
Okay,
there's sort of a line of trees, and that's where, that's like where the International Art Festival is, and that's where the Hispanic Festival,
okay,
we were
so
able to
we're
use that.
good on that back part, but we
Mhm.
need to be a bit respectful on the front part. Not that we would be disrespectful on any
Right.
part. but-
Sure.
I'll figure out what like day or maybe we could even do like a Thursday evening, like since like I said, most adults I know like to go the more more
Pride hopping.
exciting bar hopping
What?
events. I know.
No.
I've never been drunk at a pride parade.
Never. Okay, cool. I've got you down for that research, Alexis.
Yes, I will. Now that I'm done with my women's history month, I can hyper focus on
Do the
this.
next-
yeah,
the next one.
Cool. Excellent. So we were at August is National Night Out. I've got that, and then
And then September, October is Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are planning, myself, and, I'm losing names today. She's awesome. What's her name?
For what?
The Hispanic Festival. Shoot.
Jocelyn. Yes.
Jocelyn, I knew it would come to me. We're on board to do that again. It's Hispanic Heritage Month is September 15th through October 15th, so it's and the reason is because it incorporates some big Independence Days from different Hispanic countries. So that's why it's not September or October. So we want to pick a day that would not, so September the 16th is when the art festival is. So it shouldn't be that day. Last time we did it a little later. We did it in October. Maybe move it up a little so the weather is more warmer, more likely to be good.
For the Hispanic Heritage Festival, it was pretty nice in October.
Yeah, it was.
So I love October weather.
Um,
Is it a parade, festival, same thing?
so last time it was vendors,
Okay,
lots of
Victory?
food.
Okay.
It was Victory Park
Same
and
spot.
Mills.
Okay. Gotcha.
We had dancers. That was the highlight. Dancers from 7 different countries. We had a live band. It was really cool.
Cool.
It was really cool.
And working on something similar to that.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just need a date.
Correct. So I'll reach out to Jocelyn to see like if she's out of town. Otherwise, we can just pick a random weekend and just go with that. Just not, I don't think the same day as the art festival would be a good idea. Cool. Sorry, I'm going back to the calendar.
We're doing 6:31.
Oh, look at us. There's a whole bunch of stuff in October. Italian American Heritage, German American Heritage, Global Diversity Awareness. Coffee with a Cop Day, October 4th. Is there Coffee with a Firefighter Day?
We have people over at the firehouse all the time for coffee.
But you don't have a day.
We have a year.
You hear every day is Coffee with a Firefighter.
We
Good
have,
job.
We have elected officials come over for coffee. We have just residents stop in for a cup of coffee.
I feel like I heard an invitation.
Yeah.
100%.
I was gonna say,
The best time to do it is about 9 a.m. so you can actually sit down and talk with the firefighters because they're usually having a breakfast at 9, a coffee break.
Very cool.
Good to know.
Let's see, November is Native American Heritage Month. All Souls Day, Diwali. I feel like I have gone in several times and changed World AIDS Day. It's misspelled. It's all caps. There we go. But it's not saving.
In the drive.
Yeah. I'm not doing something right.
It's not very Google, love it.
There we go. Maybe now I fix it.
Okay.
I fix it. So if everyone could take a look at the calendar and start thinking about, oh, this is something that feels important, this feels like a thing we should do, take notes, and then we can, go back 3 months and start planning, so we don't have that, so we're less frantic about things.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't remember.
Public comment.
So I'm just here checking things out.
Could you identify yourself?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Tom McCabe, MCCABE, the fire department fire chief.
T-O-M?
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
M-C-C, capital C, second one.
Yes,
C-A-B-E.
please.
Gotcha. Thank you.
He's been around for more than a hot minute, so he knows a whole lot.
Been with the department 23 and a half years. I've lived here for 17, moved out a few years ago.
Which he regrets to this day.
So there's certain benefits to moving out. There's certain benefits you lose when you move out as well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a dynamic, changing city. So a lot has changed in the 6 years I've been gone from the city, for sure. But yeah, I had engaged in conversation with Susan before regarding some of our previous efforts in terms of diversity efforts within hiring at the fire department and the difficulty we've had with that. So I just I saw the meeting, I was available, I figured as the department head, I'd stop by and just say hello and see what else is going on, so.
Would you share any of the conversation or?
Sure, I don't mind to.
Any efforts?
So we expressed some frustration in terms of, Norwood is bound by the civil service regulations, which, it's state law. You need to operate within the confines of the state regs when you're a statutory city. And there is some flexibility with that. When I got hired, the veterans credit was the only credit that was given to candidates. So if you'd served in the military and had an honorable discharge, you got 20 percentage points added to your score, as long as you have a passing score. Now, because of the competitive, earlier in the early 2000s, there were things that were added to it like college degree, previous certifications with fire paramedic certification, which kind of leveled the playing ground or the playing field with people who were in the service and were veterans, but it didn't really offer much of a solution in terms of getting the minority count that we wanted to see just from the applicant pool alone.
Mm-hmm.
So then we started really looking at, well, what can we do? Can we utilize the Cincinnati Herald to advertise out? And because our city doesn't have a credit card policy, we can't use credit cards, and they would take credit cards. We couldn't do that. I engaged the NAACP. That wasn't extremely helpful. Leslie Stevenson was a really good resource. I started having lunch with her, bi-monthly, just to talk about strategic ways we could engage. And sometimes it's just a random thing. Our last testing process, we had a 10% minority pool, which was our highest ever. But I don't know that the testing process that we utilize, it's very basic, but I'm not sure that minorities aren't disadvantaged because of it. I don't know if they're teaching map reading skills in schools anymore, or mechanical advantage pieces. So when we took and I think they are also at a disadvantage in terms of not having this prior certification points, and that makes it really difficult to overcome. I think when we took the top 40 people out of our testing process to move them into the physical agility piece, I think we only had 1 or 2 candidates, and one minority withdrew from the process just on its own. So it's been difficult. We have an Asian American male, and we have a couple guys with Puerto Rican descent, but we've never had a female in the department, and historically, we don't see female applicants. They're pretty rare. We've offered the job to a couple minority candidates before, but then we're competing with Cincinnati. So, actually, a guy I grew up with, great guy, he was #1 on our test, and we thought, all right, we got our first one, let's go celebrate it, and he took a job in Cincinnati. By and large, they have a higher percentage of minority candidates, and probably a little bit better support system for that.
Was it pay related, that one, or?
So we're pretty competitive in terms of the pay scales when you look at it. Cincinnati does have a little higher structure, and it really accelerates when you start talking about the promoted positions in terms of the captains above. Lieutenants are close, but the captains, district chiefs, fire chiefs specifically, the pay scales are extremely different.
Okay.
There's lots more opportunity within a larger fire department for promotional pieces. It's just the nature of the numbers, the sheer numbers, right?
Sure.
So it's been an interesting thing. I was concerned about our hiring process in terms of our physical testing. I thought potentially it was being exclusionary. So when I became chief, I sent it for legal review because I thought we need to make sure. It came back okay. I still think we might make some adjustments to it, and discussing some of it with the city's labor attorneys. But
is there any plan to, if there is no like changing facility for a female at the fire station, like as a female, I would not apply there, period. Is there any plan for, I mean, obviously, I have a look on your face, you've thought about that, and perhaps there are plans to make changes there, but what is that? Where's that at?
So, it's an interesting conversation.
Sure.
Fire station was built in 1973 and 74, opened then, and it was built with the intent of being strictly male fire department. The dormitories are open. The shower is we call the team shower. There's no dividers in the showers. The locker room is one open locker room space. So we've engaged city administration, multiple city administrations in terms of what that looks like. And could we pull off something that was okay? Yes. Would it be equitable? I'd say no. I think that we are extremely limited in our space within that department. We also get slapped with confines of ADA restrictions. We start talking about reworking bathrooms on the second floor where we have 0 elevator access. They still have to be ADA compliant, which makes 0 sense to me.
Sure.
We're not having any ADA employees utilizing the employee facilities, but we still have to make them ADA compliant. I mean, that building was built when we still had 2 outlying fire stations within Norwood. And so while they shuttered one of those companies, they moved the company into this station. So we always joke, let's get our wall stretcher out. You know, we're a little limited, and anytime you start talking about that type of project on a facility like that, it's massive capital investment. But then we also have the problem that station is manned 24/7, 365 days. So when we do turn off the showers to start working on it, what are we doing, right? So we got to put in a temporary shower somewhere.
Are any of the other buildings that were outlying facilities, are they still there?
So the station 3 is no longer, that was actually in front of the football stadium. It was demolished when the city sold the stadium to the school district for $1.
Okay.
It was in serious disrepair. And then company 2 is actually still a city asset. Re it is leased to the fire association for the next 20 years, and they have a $1 re-up for another 25 years. And that's where they keep the old fire truck. It's more of a museum piece, and that was built as a all-male dominated place too. You could potentially, it's not functional for fire department, but if you needed to do something, we actually looked at the possibility of utilizing that during COVID when we were talking about separating some of our staff to try and limit the exposure pieces, but it's.
That would be more capital.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, just the technology piece. I mean, you think about the way radio functions are now, and none of these buildings have internet. They don't have access to the radio system. It's immense, you know, for just getting the alerts for runs. It's, you know, just to put in that would be another 20 grand.
There's this vacant piece of property like a half a block down from there. Like, do you think maybe something could happen there?
You know, I
Where the hotel
think,
used to be?
Oh, it's already been purchased.
That's fine, but maybe we could
Yeah.
just. Wouldn't it be great?
We'll have
Wouldn't that be a
we'll have to
wonderful?
PLK.
Yeah. Wouldn't
I
that
think
be a
you're-
wonderful-
On the back
Yeah.
side.
sure,
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
I'll call Nick.
Yeah.
When you start thinking about the capital needs within the city, it's an enormous investment. And if you look at the police department, who are operating out of a former bank, they've never really had their own place.
That's why it was like that.
Yeah, it was a bank.
Okay.
You know, the fire department had a previous station over here that was demolished in the 70s. This place was built and sort of staffed in 74. They just weren't designed for that stuff. So now you think about a potential, what would it cost the city for a maybe combined services building? At a minimum, you're looking at $15 million.
Sure.
And that's before you even acquire the land.
Right.
You know? And then the other question is, where would you put it? We're ideally located in the center of the city, pretty much right here. Could you do something with the back half of the properties, you know, have the city acquire those, bulldoze, build there, then bulldoze up front and make that green space / parking lots? Maybe, but just from a planning perspective and then getting the finances together to do it, you're looking at 5 years before the first shovel hits the ground.
Sure.
So it's an enormous lift.
Yeah.
We've talked about it at length. We actually asked for money in the budget this year for engineering costs to look at to actually do design plans to have some space that would be equitable. But it's a big deal because of just our sleeping situation is an enormous issue. So,
Understood. Thank you.
yeah, of course.
I wanna go back to recruitment for a minute.
Sure.
Right now, you're fully staffed, right? You're not, or you
We're one short right now because of someone resigned, taking our job.
are you hiring? Maybe that's a better question.
It doesn't sound like the city is moving to fill that position.
Okay.
If they did, we had to have an active list. And that list
Okay.
should be active for the next, we'll call it 1 year from now.
Okay.
Maybe a little
And there are
less.
no
There are still minority candidates
in the list?
that they're not what we call reachable. So civil service rules, it's 1 in 10. So we have to select someone who's ranked number 1 through number 10. And so we can bypass anybody twice within that region. And once we've bypassed a candidate, say we have a candidate 1 through 10. The fire department wants to hire number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's 1 strike for 1 through 9. Number 11 now becomes 10. So we're gonna hire another one and say, well, we like number 10 again. We're gonna hire number 10. Number 12 now moves up to the number 10 spot. Should we select number 10 again, 9 through 1 can be discarded. And then the next 10 come to the list.
Okay.
Now there is a percentage within Ohio Revised Code. It's either 1 out of 10 or it's at the 20 percentile or something like that.
They're ranked by score, I'm guessing?
They are, yes.
So you're talking about hiring kind of like the middle of the pack?
Well, it depends.
That way?
Well, generally you're required to hire the top. You have to hire your candidates out of the top 10. And the only way to get to lower rounds is either they get disqualified within their hiring process, which happens a lot. I mean, we DQ a fair amount of people during the hiring process, or I should say we do. They self-DQ. But yeah, that's the other realization for civil service hiring. There are very specific rules we have to follow in terms of the hiring process.
Has there been any discussion of offering some of the certifications that might help people get more points on the civil service test like you were talking
We are not in a position to do that because the state of Ohio regulates who can train to that, and there's certain requirements in terms of We might be able to do an EMT class,
Yeah.
you know, maybe, but that's a lot, it's a heavy lift for a department.
It would be the department folks.
It would have to be department folks.
So
We
there's
only
like, people
have,
don't come in and deliver the.
they can, we could do
Okay.
that as well, but
Mhm.
it's all about the
Yeah.
dollar, right?
Right.
So if
Well, it
that
just
was a
depends on
focus.
who is yelling about diversity and hiring. If
Sure.
they're yelling about it, then they need to make, if they're
Well,
folks who can,
I think
release
there's ways
some
you
money.
could potentially let, you know, encourage that. You know, Cincinnati has a fire cadet program they do, which seems to help in their recruitment efforts. But they just have a wider pool. I shared with her, the hiring process is getting scary. Cincinnati at their, you know, when I was getting into the fire department hiring process, they'd have 5,000 applicants for their hiring process. Their last process, they had 700. We've run the gamut. We've had as high as 350 we had a process where we only had 50 applicants, which we ended up hiring almost 10 guys off of that list. To this last process, we had 135 applicants, but then we only had 95 people show up to take the test. And of those 95, I think we had 72 viable applicants once the testing was scored.
Chief, what do your recruitment efforts look like when you're not actively hiring? Are they on pause
Yes,
or?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the city would do well to have their HR people actively engaged in that. I don't think we have adequate manpower support to dedicate to that in terms of what our current responsibilities are.
Mhm.
I like to think that we're doing the best we can with what we're given. We certainly could always do better, but I think the city as a whole would do well to encourage an HR spot to be on the lookout and doing recruitment. Honestly, the way hiring is going in the public safety sector, it may not matter. We might go to a combined pool for hiring at some point. You just never know. I know police have generally had a lot tougher time filling their spots, but that might be more of a social issue than a job issue per se.
well, thank you.
I'll reach out to, and I think I said I was gonna do this when we met and I didn't write it down. I know some folks over at the Herald, so I'll find out if the credit card thing is still an issue.
Yeah.
I
And
pulled
if
it
we
up
can write a check
online.
too, that's fine, because we can do that. It's just more of a hassle the way the city finances operate.
It's weird. It's, yeah, I agree.
Well, it's a little-
To say the least.
It's a
Every
little
single
antiquated.
roadblock,
Yeah.
it feels like.
My argument to them was, I'm the fire chief, I'm in charge of an $8 million budget, and I can't have a credit card that I'm responsible for. You gotta be kidding me, but.
That didn't go over so well, doesn't sound like.
Well, it's partly because of the financial auditors being here from the state of Ohio, and historically what gets cities in trouble is credit card usage that's not monitored. And I think the city was probably ripe for some misuse back in the day had there just weren't any cards. Actually, they have a history of, there was a Sam's card that departments could use and it got abused.
Right.
So someone
So
went
does
and bought a
mine.
bunch of stuff and hadn't have the money to pay for it, so it was a big to-do.
Gotcha. So that's fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
It's a little more responsible.
Yes.
Certainly makes things harder for you.
Certainly does.
So I will get that information for you.
Great.
Although right now it doesn't sound like it.
Now, our next anticipated hiring process, when we do another testing process, really isn't for another 3 years. We don't have any projected retirements.
Whoa, all right.
But I say that and go, anyone can walk in and
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
hey, I'm leaving.
Yeah. The other thing I'm just sort of thinking about in terms of recruitment, and I appreciate you brought up the fire cadet program, because actually I used to, doesn't matter, but I know a couple kids who did the fire cadet program, and then when they graduated high school became firefighters, and that was really cool, and they were CPS kids. So I know that's, again, money, time, more labor. But I'm curious if there are other things that we could look at that might be helpful This I think is more appropriate for the police. We talked about them going to college, career fairs and reaching out more specifically to, like the black fraternities and sororities. With the police, there's like more, you know, you can go to their criminal justice program or their social work program. For firefighting, it's a little.
There's a few higher education centers that specialize with fire protection stuff, like Eastern Kentucky,
Right.
University of Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Maryland has one as well. So there are a few. But that's the other issue is historically minorities haven't really, it's not a career
Into those
path
fields.
that has been attractive, which I think it's the best job in the world. So I mean, everyone should.
Everyone should be a firefighter.
Everyone
Yeah.
should fight fire.
I don't
That's
know
right.
everybody's doing.
I was gonna say, not for me, but
Yeah,
thank you so
like,
much. Thank you
The
so
running
much.
joke is right. You guys are idiots. Everyone else is running out of the building. You guys are running in.
Yeah. It takes a special
Yeah.
personality
Yeah,
for
sure.
sure.
For sure.
So I think I'd like to just kind of keep the fire recruitment in mind, as a, what are some more creative ways? And I don't think it's gonna be, I don't think there's any huge untapped resource that you're like, oh, here's where they all are. I don't think it's that. I think it's.
Wish
gonna
there
be-
was a silver bullet, right?
Right,
It's
so I
not
think it's
that.
gonna be a whole lot of nurturing relationships and that sort of thing. But I did make myself a note, I'm gonna call, the Herald tomorrow.
Awesome.
I don't know if like a newspaper article or something that sort of says Norwood is actively looking to hire good applicants and asterisk, you know, racial minorities, please apply. Like, how do we kind of rally that kind of interest? So I'm gonna keep thinking about it,
Sure.
talking to some other firefighters that I know. But also I shared with the chief that I have a friend who's he's an assistant fire chief, right?
Forest Park.
At Forest Park, and he is a man of color. Their fire chief is also black.
Correct.
Right. And they are actively having a hard time. So it's the exact same struggle. So it's not unique. So, all right, we're 54. Let's get a quick agenda, make sure we have everything, because if it's not on the agenda, we can't talk about it. So we're gonna definitely talk about Pride. We're gonna talk about Juneteenth. We'll talk about Marsh again. What else?
Lydia's house. If
Lydia's
we,
house.
How the success of the donations.
Could you imagine? With donations.
The statue.
Oh, the,
Let's not joke about that, Alexis. Like, that
Actually,
can go really,
I did.
just in case.
That is an outcome.
Culture survey.
Did we say whether some HR is hiring for Keith's position?
Well,
Or HR is Keith.
yeah.
They're looking for somebody,
They're,
but there's
they're
no.
actively,
Okay.
they're
Understood.
actively looking.
Got it. Cool.
Fingers crossed.
And
Should
then
we
we
put
can,
that on the agenda as a, like,
HR update?
yeah, good call. And then just,
And just for, you know, something that the chief said, you know, I wish HR could do these things. We didn't have an HR department really until Keith. So, I mean, we're leaps and bounds, from where we were, which is great, but we still have leaps and bounds to go.
and then just other, updates as we review the calendar, we'll go through this.
Okay,
Yeah.
calendar. And if you think of anything else you wanna add, let me know, and we'll add it.
Okay.
Sweet,
Are we adjourning?
we are adjourning.
Motion to
Thank you
adjourn.
so much.
Okay.
Thank
56,
you.
look at us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
thanks.